Hello everyone, it's Pat at Beads and Plenty More, and today I'm going to show you how to make this pendant that I've made here in the copper. I've hammered the wires so that it's all in a nice and flat, and also I've used the ball peen side to make little dents in it to make it just a little bit more textured. And I've done a little bit of binding at the top to hold it all together. So what we need is 2 pieces of 18 gauge wire. I've used the copper on this one, and I'm going to use the tinned copper, but it's actually a nickel color that I'm going to use for today. And they're 18 gauge again. So I've got a 7-inch piece and a 5-inch piece. The 7 inches the outside and the 5 is the inside. And then on this one I hammered the bottom of a piece of wire to hold the glass bead in the middle, but this for today I'm going to try using just the head pin, the long head pin. It's a little bit less work to do, and it'll work just as well. So what I used was one of our bead vials to make this curve at the bottom, bring these 2 pieces up together like so. And then on the smaller one I took one of our tools here, kind of bend it a bit so we can make sure we get it close to the center, and then just wrap it so that we get a little bit of a curve on there. Now once you make these 2 curves, you want to bring these back, and we want to make sure that they're even so that when I make the circles they're going to end up being equal, not a little bit off on one side than the other. So like this one's just a little bit off, so I'm going to just nip a little piece off this side. There we go. This is the better way to cut. There we are. So there's my 2 units that are going to work together, and then the head pin going up the center. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the round nose pliers, and we're going to make these big loops on the outside. So this one's not even either, so we'll trim that one a little bit to make sure they're nice and even. I do want to have them even. So to make those big loops, I go in with the pliers about halfway up and start with a fairly small circle, and then go back in and grab it and loop it out against my finger if possible to make it nice and big around like that. Then the other side is exact opposite, of course. Start again with the small circle and then grab it and work it around my thumb to make it nice, or forefinger, pardon me, to get nice kind of hoops on the top there. And if we're not super happy with the way they look, we can just smooth them out a little bit with the round nose pliers. Okay, so that's your 2 that are on the outside, and then this one is going to nest inside the middle here. So we need to bring it in a bit tighter yet, because it's going to have to be fairly small to sit inside there. And again, we're going to do the same sort of loops on those with the pliers. This one I didn't do a small one, I just did a big circle around. And go the big circle around like that. Maybe tighten those in just a bit more. So we want this one to tuck inside there. And they're all gonna, it sits in like that, and they're all gonna be nested together up at the neck here. So bring these 2 together tight. And these 2 a little bit looser because this one has to come up in between. I want it to come up. Oops. And sit above the other 2. So all told, kind of like that. I've got this one shorter than I did on my copper one, but that'll still work really well. And then my pin's going to sit inside here like that. Okay, so back to my tool here, I'm going to just tidy these circles up a little bit. just working them around anything that's round, because they're just a little bit square looking in my eye. The pliers aren't big enough to make a big loop like that, so back we go here, and this one's going to sit below that one. They want to sit nest together. Then after we get this set up that kind of in the way that we want it, then we're going to take the pounding block, that's these blocks like this, the steel bench block, and I'm going to hammer this. Now, whenever you're hammering, you have to be careful that you don't overlap the items that you hammer. Like these, everything is sitting flat. So I'll just do a little bit on camera, and then I'm going to do most of it off because it's kind of noisy. So I'm going to hammer everything like this, and both sides, all the way up to the top. And then I'm going to turn it over and use the ball peen side to make the little dents. Can you see that close? Nice little dents that it makes, just for some texturing. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hammer both, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I've hammered these two pieces and got them ready to assemble, and I'm going to use a piece of 26 gauge wire for doing the wrapping. And when I set them together, I came up with another design. I thought they looked a little bit nicer just to kind of overlap them like that instead of having them sitting on top like the other one. So we'll do a new design for this one. Put them in like that, and then the pin with the bead's going to sit in there exactly like that. And now to hold them all together as I wrap, that's a little trick, of course. Get them all kind of lined up where they should be. And we'll get this wire going through and back up through here. And I'm going to get a few wraps going here. Down. Try and not overlap them, but just set them side by side. Bring this wire through a few times. That's set nicely. And then back to check here that this one sits where it's supposed to, and that one sits where it's supposed to. There, that's what I want. I'll just do maybe one more. Nice and snug. And this one wasn't as snug on the beginning, so we'll use our chain nose to get that a tug to get it nice and snug. Sometimes your first wrap it's very difficult to get it to be really tight. It tends to loosen up as you go into from one wrap to the second wrap. So get those all nice and tidy. I'll just use my nylon jaws to go in and make sure everything's nice and flat. There. So now these two ends can be finished at the back. And then I'm going to set my bead in there, and we're going to make a bail with this piece. But first of all, we'll trim away the excess wire. Okay, and chain nose pliers to put it down. There we are. Okay, now with this pin, I'm going to make a wire wrap loop. So I'll bring that forward, use my round nose plier at the largest point so that I get as big a loop as I can with the pliers. You can use your bail making pliers for this, it works very well too. So that's my loop. And then I'm going to use that excess wire to do the wire wrap loop. So bring that over and around. Like so. And then I'm going to take my 2 pairs of pliers, which is the way I like to do wire wrap loops, and grab with this one and bring it around. It's gonna spin on me. There, maybe fingers work better. There we go. So just bring that around. Tighten it up with the chain nose. And one more wrap. And then we've got some excess, so we'll cut it away. There we are. Oh, that piece needs to be tucked. Straighten it a little bit with the chain nose. And ready to go. So that then on the copper one, I put it on one of these neck rings. It sits fairly high on the neck, and I thought it worked really well because the pendant's quite light. But you could put it on a cord or a chain very easily. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.